Hey everyone! Today we're exploring another chilling and disturbing case. If you'd like to support the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay engaged. It really means a lot. I truly appreciate it. Now, take a deep breath and let's dive in. The woman you're looking at was once the face of grace in her church community. Today, she's accused of bludgeoning her husband to death, and this is a tape that made the world doubt her innocence. Lara Brown had everything. A beautiful home in suburban Oregon, a God-fearing husband, Pastor Mark Brown, 2 children, a glowing reputation in her tight-knit church. She wasn't just a pastor's wife. She was a church, baptism coordinator, Sunday school leader, the kind of woman who baked extra banana bread for new neighbors. Until one Sunday morning, everything fell apart. Breaking news out of Multnomah County. Pastor Mark Brown has been found dead in his home. His wife, Lara, is currently being questioned. When police arrived at the Brown residence, they were met with a scene that didn't sit right. Mark was slumped over his desk, head crushed, Bible pages stuck to dry blood, no sign of forced entry, no broken windows, nothing stolen. But what raised eyebrows? Lara's demeanor. She said she had slept through the murder, didn't hear a thing, didn't scream, didn't cry. She made tea, called 911 with a calm, rehearsed voice, and then started wiping the kitchen counters. Mark Brown was a well-respected pastor, but someone had been watching him closely. An anonymous letter had landed in the hands of the church board months earlier. It accused Lara of an affair with Daniel Mercer, the 26-year-old worship leader. Daniel, who had quietly resigned just 2 weeks before the murder. Daniel, who had no alibi for the night Mark died. Daniel, who had sent Lara over 300 texts in the past month. One of them read, "If he ever hurts you again, I swear I'll make it stop." Then came the insurance policies. $500,000 from the church. $1.2 million from a private policy, taken out by Lara 6 months before Mark's death. Beneficiary? Lara. Witness? Daniel Mercer. Police also found hidden browser history on Lara's iPad. How long does antifreeze take to kill? How to stage a break-in. What does a guilty person look like on tape? Lara was brought in for questioning the very next day. The tape rolls. She's silent, composed, distant, until the detective leaves the room. Thinking she's alone, thinking no one can hear her, she leans forward, presses her fingers to her temples, and whispers, "It wasn't supposed to be this messy. It wasn't supposed to be this messy." But what did she mean by messy? Was it guilt slipping through the cracks? Or a sign that the real killer had botched a perfect plan? Daniel Mercer wasn't just the church's worship leader. He was charming, he was talented, and most importantly, he had been spending late nights at the Brown house. Even after stepping down, Lara told friends it was mentorship. Mark, apparently, didn't suspect a thing until weeks before his death, when he quietly removed Daniel's name from the church payroll without explanation. Now, Daniel was back in the picture, not as a musician, but as suspect number 2. 2 weeks into the investigation, a new lead cracked open everything. Lara's car GPS had pinged in an unexpected location, a remote cabin in the woods, 3 counties away. The property, rented under Daniel Mercer's name. Police raided the site. They found 2 burned phones, a duffel bag with a broken hammer, half a bottle of antifreeze, and in the corner, buried under ash and debris, a partially burned leather journal. 1 page had survived. It read, "If she doesn't go through with it, I will." Below, in Lara's handwriting, "We do this together, or we don't do it at all." Detectives pressed Daniel hard. He claimed the journal wasn't his. Said Lara had begged him to run away with her. Said he had tried to end the affair, but Lara was spiraling. She, on the other hand, told a very different story. During a second interrogation, Lara finally cracked. He said he would kill Mark with or without me. I told him no. I told him I'd stop him. But he said if I wasn't with him, I was in the way too. But the detectives weren't sure who to believe. Was Lara telling the truth? or rewriting the narrative now that Daniel was in the hot seat. That's when police uncovered voice memo buried deep inside Lara's old iCloud backup, dated 4 days before the murder. He said it's done Friday night. No backing out. I didn't sign up for this. But if I report him now, he said he'll take me down with him. What do I do? It sounded like fear. It also sounded like guilt. But there was something even darker underneath. In the background of the recording, a second voice murmuring, "We're both going to hell anyway." Detectives subpoenaed Daniel's old text messages. In the hours after Mark's murder, while Lara was sleeping, Daniel had sent one chilling message to a burner number. "The lamb is gone. We're free. The lamb is gone. We're free." But here's the kicker. The burner phone that received that message, it was activated that same night from a cell tower less than 400 feet from the Brown home. Mark Brown was found face down in his home office. Bible still open beside him. Mugs shattered on the floor. The scene was violent. Overkill. He was struck 5 times. Not once. Not twice. 5. The blood spatter was high. The wounds precise, and the pathologist noted something strange. The object used was broad and flat. Not the claw end of the hammer. Not a pipe. And definitely not the broken hammer found in Daniel's cabin. Lara's original alibi was simple. "I fell asleep at 10. I woke up at 6. I found him at 6:30. But data from her smartwatch told a different story. Between 2:12 a.m. and 2:44 a.m., her heart rate spiked to 136 BPM. She took 754 steps, most of them inside the house. And for exactly 4 minutes, her watch lost connection, likely removed from her wrist. Detectives called it the missing 32 minutes. What happened during that window? Forensics re-examined the broken ceramic mug found at the crime scene. Beneath the blood, they discovered a partial palm print. Not Lara's, not Daniel's. It matched a third DNA profile, already in the system. The name? Rachel Vaughn, age 29. Criminal history, aggravated assault, burglary, and most notably, arson. She'd been arrested twice. And her emergency contact? Daniel Mercer. Lara was reinterrogated and shown the forensic match. She froze, then whispered. She said she just wanted to scare him. She told me no one would get hurt. Detective, so you knew Rachel? She was his ex. I didn't even know she was back until I saw them together. What Lara confessed next shocked even the detectives. She claimed that Daniel had lied to both women, that he had told Rachel he was being manipulated by the Browns, and told Lara he was being stalked by Rachel. He pitted them against each other, until one night, he invited both of them to the same house. At the same time, detectives found a final piece of evidence. A security cam across the street captured footage at 2:15 a.m. A hooded woman approached the Browns' porch. She didn't knock. She didn't force entry. She reached under the doormat and pulled out a house key. Only 3 people knew where that key was kept, and Mark Brown wasn't one of them. Rachel Vaughn wasn't just Daniel Mercer's ex. She was a volatile part of his past he never disclosed. The church knew nothing about her. Lara knew even less. But Rachel had been around longer than anyone thought, and when she found out Daniel was involved with Lara, something snapped. In a message to a friend days before the murder, Rachel wrote, "He lied to me for a year. I'm not going to sit and let that snake wear a suit and preach. He's in no pain. That pain, it seems, would come in the form of blood." Rachel confessed to being at the house that night. She said Daniel gave her the key, told her to scare Mark into resigning from the church, to make it look like a robbery gone wrong. She swore the plan was never to kill. But when she entered the house, she found something else. Mark was already bleeding, just slumped over. I screamed, then I ran. Detectives pressed harder. If she didn't kill him, who did? Rachel's voice dropped. That's when I saw Lara. She was holding the fire poker. Wait, the fire poker? That detail had never been released to the public. Not in any news article. Not in the press conference. Yet Rachel knew about it. Because police had found a scorched, white poker in the backyard fire pit. Ash-covered and nearly melted. They thought it was irrelevant. Until now. And Lara? She never mentioned it. But here's where it gets darker. Unbeknownst to both women, a microphone recording from the morgue had captured a chilling moment. As detectives walked Lara past Mark's body during formal ID, she leaned in and whispered, "I told you not to make me choose. I told you not to make me choose." Choose between what? Between her husband and Daniel? Between guilt and silence? Or between life and death? As police built their case against both Lara and Rachel, a new discovery changed everything again. A neighbor, packing to move, found a muddy suitcase behind a garden shed near the Brown property. Inside were torn church donation envelopes, a ripped prayer journal, Mark's missing iPad, and a child's drawing soaked in blood. On the back of the drawing, in Daniel's handwriting, "She won't talk. She's too scared of what she knows." The suitcase was zipped shut, but the truth was just starting to open. Daniel Mercer wasn't just Lara's lover. He wasn't just Rachel's ex. He was the quiet architect behind it all. He played worship songs by day, but by night, he was writing something else. A 42-page document titled Redemption Plan, Restoration Through Sacrifice. It read like a manifesto, broken into 3 phases. Phase 1, break the chain. Phase 2, cleanse the temple. Phase 3, begin again. Each page contained dates, initials, and disturbing instructions. Some crossed out, others marked complete. Police recovered a burner laptop from a unit. Password, Forgiven 77. Inside were hidden chat logs between Daniel and both women, photos of Mark's church ledgers, emails drafted but never sent, accusing Mark of financial fraud, a wire transfer request for $50,000 to a fake ministry in Panama. More disturbing, though, was a contingency file. If Lara flips, if Rachel confesses, if police search the cabin. He had thought through everything, or so he believed, because there was one thing he didn't account for: a recorded phone call. Days after Rachel's arrest, she called Daniel from jail, unaware that the call was being monitored. Rachel on phone. "They know Daniel. I told them. You're next." Daniel, pause. "You still think this was about you?" Rachel, "You ruined both of us." Daniel, "I didn't ruin you. I saved you. You would have OD'd in a ditch without me. Now you're part of something bigger. You're part of cleansing." The line went silent after that. Rachel started sobbing. The next morning, she tried to take her own life in her cell. While searching Daniel's church locker, police discovered one more twist: a forged letter printed on the church's letterhead. It appeared to be a confession from Mark Brown. It accused himself of embezzlement, abuse, and failing the church. Signed, dated, sealed in an envelope marked, "Read during Sunday sermon, September 3rd. It was never delivered, but it revealed Daniel's endgame: to destroy Mark's legacy, frame him as a fraud, and take control of the ministry with Lara by his side. Investigators flipped to the final page of the redemption plan. It was mostly blank, except for one handwritten line at the bottom: Phase 3 begins after the ashes. Beside it, a sticky note with an address. Detectives raced to the location: an abandoned church outside Portland. Inside, a fire pit, a torn choir robe, and the charred remains of a second burner phone. On it, a final voicemail from Daniel to Lara, never sent: "You'll understand someday. The temple had to fall so we could rise." Phase 3 had begun, but where was Daniel Mercer? With Daniel Mercer missing and both women locked behind bars, the case should have been over. But then came the envelope. Inside it, a confession, a warning, or something worse. The final piece of a puzzle no one was prepared to solve. Daniel Mercer had vanished. No car, no cards used, no confirmed sightings. The last known footage of him was from a gas station 2 towns over. He was walking, wearing a hoodie, and carrying nothing but a small duffel bag. The FBI joined the manhunt. Interpol was alerted. Every border was flagged. But Daniel wasn't running aimlessly. He had a plan. Because on September 3rd, the same day his forged letter was meant to be read aloud in church, An envelope appeared at the police station, postmarked locally, no return address. Inside was a single page. If you're reading this, you've already lost. The truth was never in the tapes. It was in the silence between them. The temple has fallen, but the flock still waits, and the new shepherd is coming. It was signed, DM, and scribbled at the bottom. Lara knows where. Detectives went back to the church archives, desperate for leads. They found a recorded sermon, Mark Brown's last, delivered just days before his murder. In it, he spoke about betrayal, redemption, and, strangely, fear. Mark Brown, on tape. There is evil that dresses like salvation, wolves that sing like doves. Even I have been blind. As he spoke, the camera caught something unusual. Lara, sitting in the front pew, clutching her hand so tightly her knuckles turned white. Beside her, Daniel, smiling. The final break came from Lara herself. After weeks in solitary, she passed a folded letter to her lawyer. It was written to her daughter. I was weak. I let someone twist God's voice into poison. I didn't kill your father, but I didn't save him either. Daniel wanted the church. He said it was his destiny. When Mark found out about the money and the affair, he told me he was going to remove Daniel from everything, from the church, from our lives, from this earth. I never believed he meant it, until I saw the look in his eyes. Lara claimed she had warned Daniel that night. She said she left the house at 2 a.m., hoping to intercept him. But when she returned, Mark was already dead, and Daniel was already gone. Then, 1 week later, just as the case seemed to finally settle, a flash drive arrived at the home of a local journalist. No note, no return address, just a file titled, The Final Shepherd. The footage? Daniel Mercer, in a candlelit room, preaching. Daniel on video. You locked up the lambs and called it justice. But judgment is coming, and this time, you won't see it on tape. Daniel Mercer is still at large. Lara Brown is serving 25 years for manslaughter. Rachel Vaughn is in a psychiatric facility after multiple suicide attempts. And the church where it all began, now abandoned, boarded up, but still whispered about in town as the house of the fallen pastor. Some believe Lara was a victim of manipulation. Others say she was a puppeteer all along. But one thing is certain. Behind the prayers, the pulpit, and the praise, there was rot, and the tape didn't show everything. Daniel Mercer remains on the FBI's most wanted list. A $100,000 reward is being offered for information leading to his capture. Tip lines remain open. What are your thoughts on this case? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay updated with more stories, where each case isn't just about crime, but also offers a lesson for life.